Please don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Thank you.
Sabri, welcome to the Ty Lopez Show here in my garage. And you're one of the most well-known marketers. You built big funnels, spending $100,000 a day. You do it for other people. You do it for yourself. I'm going to ask you, I got some very interesting questions because people ask me, what's the best platform? YouTube, Facebook. What's better? High ticket, low ticket. We're going to cover all of that in the show. So thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
All the way from Australia. By the way, what part of Australia are you from?
Melbourne.
Melbourne. I lived in Melbourne once. I sheared sheep in New Zealand. Then I learned salsa dancing. I became a professional salsa dancer, but my first class was in Melbourne,
Melbourne
Australia.
of all places.
Are you Italian or?
No, I'm a big mix. My mum is Australian and my dad's Arab.
Okay. So, because I was like, Sabri, is that like? Well, good. Well, welcome on the show. I don't know where I first saw your stuff, but I saw a post you did on social and I was like, this guy's smart. And then I realized a lot of people I know you. And when you think about your life right now, it's like, I always say, what is the one thing you could stand on stage out of 8 billion people and there's only 12 people up there, like a basketball team, and you're competing for being the best in the world at that thing? I have my thing. I'm always like, what is the one thing I can stand up with 12 other people and potentially come out number one skill in the entire world? What do you think yours is?
Customer acquisition.
But is that like Facebook ads, YouTube ads, or just anything? You're like, I can get you customers.
When it comes to just getting customers online, getting eyeballs and then converting those eyeballs at any different price point.
Yeah.
Because I don't look at it as just like it's just Facebook, because Facebook's not right for all businesses.
Yeah.
So it's more about sizing up the business. What are the unit economics?
Yep.
Where do I think, the best places to go out there and get customers and be able to flip it into money? So I don't look through the lens of like, what's the traffic channel? I don't like to limit myself to just that tool.
Yeah.
It's more so just looking at the lens of like, if I was operating this business, how would I go out there and get customers? What's the type of funnel that I would do? What traffic source? What would the offers look like?
How long have you been doing it?
17 years. So I got my first job in sales when I was 16 and I was the worst salesperson there.
Okay. And
the founder pulled me aside. He was going to get rid of me. He was like, dude, you got really good work ethic, but you suck. Like, you can't sell. And
it's a nice compliment sandwich, they call those.
Yeah.
You give someone a compliment, then you destroy them. Then you give them a little compliment at the end.
And he was like, unless you turn something around, like, I'm going to have to get rid of you.
Yeah.
And I did. And then I did that and I became the top salesperson there. And I traveled all over the world selling everything that you can imagine. One-to-one, one-to-many, all of that kind of jazz. And then I started my first internet business when I was 22 selling water filters.
What year is this?
What year would that be? Probably 2009, I think.
Okay. So you've been building funnels. That's when you started building kind of funnels.
Yeah, that's when I first learned about funnels and traffic. I got my start in SEO, doing SEO. And then that was when I kind of fell down the rabbit hole of direct response and buying traffic and doing all of that and moving away from being on the front lines of capitalism in terms of being actually on the telephone, converting customers to doing one-to-many.
So right now, fast forward 2024, 2025, I got a lot of people follow me for marketing. They want to know what's like the most practical advice in terms of which platform and which strategy. So I'm going to throw a couple options. Give me which one. Let's play a little game.
Yep.
You got to pick one or the other. It's a hypothetical game. Obviously, in the real world, you can advertise on multiple platforms. But if you had a choice right now, hypothetically, you can only do organic marketing, building a whole bunch of sub-accounts, Instagram accounts, going viral and generating sales that way, or paid ads. If you had to pick which one.
Paid ads.
Paid ads, okay. Game level 2. If you could only be Facebook ads or YouTube ads, which one would you select?
Facebook ads.
Facebook ads. If you could only drive people to a high ticket landing page where you're selling something, let's call it over $1,000, or low ticket, what would you do?
High ticket.
High ticket. If you could drive those high ticket people to a free form versus a booking page where they book a time? Which one would you choose?
Now it's starting to get a little bit complicated because ideally
I'm taking you down a path of
I
complication.
ideally I'd book them to the booking page, and I would have a step to that where I capture their details.
Bridge page, I call that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we... So, okay. Next, once you capture them, are you calling them with a one-call closer, or do you like setter closer system?
I like to have my setters be my closers.
So one call. Theoretically,
One call.
the setter calls, they get them on the phone. They don't say, let me get you on with somebody more
Yeah,
advanced.
with the caveat of like the closers are going to always be setting their own appointments.
Yes.
But that's typically how you start.
Yes.
Yeah.
So next question in the hypothetical, price point. What's your price? You have to pick one price point to build an entire business, and you're not allowed to have any other price points.
No back ends, nothing.
For this hypothetical, you got one price. You got to make all your money with one price.
50K.
50,000 US. Okay. Are you selling done with you or done for you for
Hybrid.
50K?
A hybrid.
So what's the hybrid? Because I feel like those are kind of hybrids themselves. What's the hybrid of done with you? For those of you watching, that means, hey, come into my system and I'm going to do Zoom calls with you and help. Let's say you're selling a package where you help people optimize their sales team. Done with you would be like, you're going to do all the work, but I'm training your team on how to get better at sales. Done for you is sit back, relax. We'll do the phone calls for you. What's a hybrid of those?
Yeah, the hybrid for me is it's the done with you, but there's done for you components, because anybody that's sold the two of them know that done for you is the sexiest thing to sell.
Yes. But the hardest to fulfill.
Correct. And the most difficult to scale.
Yes.
So realistically, I think that the game is won a lot of the time is when it's pitched as a done for you, but it's really done with you. And that's because you're giving people a lot of the things that they would typically be coached to build themselves, but you're just being like, here is my funnels, here is the script, here is the VSL, this is everything that you need.
Yeah. What about, okay, going back to this hypothetical yes, no, are you doing image ads or video ads? You said Facebook you'd prefer over YouTube. Image ads or video ads?
Either I had to pick one.
Have to pick one. And this is, by the way, for you. This is not for the average person. This is literally, let's say you started from $0 and you got to rebuild an empire.
It's me, it's video ads.
Video ads. How long?
As long as I need in order to make the pitch that I'm asking.
But what does that usually come out to be?
I run ads that are 17 minutes long.
Yeah.
On Facebook. And I have ads that I run that are an hour and 6 minutes.
Yeah.
On Facebook as well, but nothing less than 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to boost whole VSLs. I was on Logan Paul's show and he's like, Ty, you're the first person I ever saw on Snapchat. I uploaded an hour and a half VSL to my Snap story. It used to cut it for you. So it cut it into 15 seconds. So it goes into 4, I think it was 15 seconds. So you'd have 4 per minute times 100 minutes. I had a 400 Snap story. He's like, dude, I watch it all the way to the end. So yeah, long. One of my friends, I think, is the best copywriter in the world. His answer to that question is, as you go as long as you can until you get boring.
100%.
Then you stop.
Yeah.
So but what's your average ad to sell a 50K? Are you doing a shorter ad? Click here, go watch a separate landing page video, or are you embedding the same ad as the ad and embed it on the lander?
Yeah, I'm typically doing like the whole VSL as the ad.
Yes.
Yeah.
But do you also, because people click off the platform, they're on Facebook, they say learn more. Do you also have that video on the lander, or is it a straight TSL, tech sales letter?
No, we don't. We're not really doing TSLs.
But is it the same video as they just saw? Maybe they didn't finish it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I see a big mistake. A lot of marketers out there are doing video landing pages that are different or aren't congruent. And they're thinking, most people didn't watch the whole thing, especially on Facebook. People scroll, they move off. So that's interesting. And are you collecting any money on the initial funnel, or is it all free lead gen forms?
We run a combination of both. We've got low ticket funnels, and we've also got just straight.
So if you only could choose one, what are you choosing?
High ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah, high ticket, no money up front.
Yeah. Now, have you done a hybrid of that? I've done this hybrid before, which I like, which is a high ticket credit card off, where they enter their credit card. Internally, we call those credit card funnels. So to me, I separate funnels as you have credit card funnels and you have free lead gen funnels.
Yeah.
Lead gen funnels can break into just a form or having a calendar booking. Credit card funnels can be low. I consider $1 to $10, $1 to $100, mid $100 to $1,000, and high $1,000 plus. So I've actually done a hybrid where it's enter your credit card in order to book with me, which I like. I consider that. But you have to have a lot of authority as a brand to do that. When I was starting out, I couldn't do that. You have to have a pretty big embedded audience,
Yeah, I think it all depends on the model that you're going for, right? It's like you have to run the unit economics and see what is our cost to book an appointment when we take a deposit versus non-deposit, and how many salespeople do I have? What's going to be cheaper?
Yes.
Is there going to be arbitrage in the amount of humans that I need in order to fulfill on that? If it was just me and I had 2 or 3 closers and I wanted to bring them in only the most highest quality leads, then that would make sense.
Yeah. I mean, I have much higher ticket stuff. So I have stuff that's $1 million products. So for me there, like I've got a consulting package where I partner with brands. It's $1 million. Somebody just went into it like a month ago. So for me, I like to save my best closers for selling $100,000 to $1 million products.
Yeah.
So for me, if I can liquidate at $2,000 funnel, that's giving my guys a really good quality lead. Somebody will enter.
Isn't that $1 million offer like a back end offer that you've got that they graduate from?
They can go. It can not necessarily. No. It can. So what? In that case, it would be a video ad that talks about my $1 million. I launched this in 2016. First guy put in 1.8 million. He's made back literally about 40 million profit, very much because of that video that I did with him and make him famous. So now I have a front end product. It's like, look, if you're already doing 50 million but your product is limited by how many people know you, or you're a personal brand and you see the value of personal brand, I can make you famous fast. You will spend more than $1 million trying to build a personal brand. I spent 50 million cash, literally, in building my personal brand just with eyeballs. I saw something Alex Hormozy recently said. I've been saying this for years. I saw him say, hey, it'll cost you 50 million to build a brand like Hormozy's. So I tell people, you give me $1 million and I'll start embedding you into my story, and millions of people will know you. So for a product like that, I would do like a $2,000 to $5,000 credit card up front to talk to me on the phone. So it's a consulting call. So if they don't proceed from there, but I'll have my closers on that call. So when I hang up the phone after 30 minutes, they'll move in and sell $100,000 to $1 million package.
Got it.
So it's not really a back end, like 67 steps. I have, I've had a crazy amount of people buy my programs, and over time, this is like we're directly going at a higher ticket, But that, like I said, I couldn't do that 10 years ago. You have to evolve with your brand. Now my brand, I can still, I evolved to where I think there's the least competition. Right now, I started I started building funnels in 2001. And back then, there was no competition. Nobody was building funnels. I built my own ClickFunnels software, my own, in 2006.
So
I still use.
If we were to flip that question and I was to ask you the same questions, what would you say?
So is the question, is it me now or me starting out?
You now.
Me now, I would say YouTube ads, 15K product, probably, because I can do B2C and B2B. So I probably do 15K product, YouTube ads.
What funnel?
I'm like you. I mean, I've done I would do video ads. I like a shorter video ad, like 3-4 minutes, to a lander that's like 45 minutes to an hour 30.
Yeah, if you're going to do it on YouTube, that's what makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why do you think that's different for Facebook?
I just think that it's a bit of a different dynamic, because they're waiting to watch a video when you hit them with a video ad, right? So it's like there's almost like they don't know with Facebook, they don't know what is when they scroll, they don't know what's going to be further down. With YouTube, they've already clicked on the thing that they want to consume.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to get them to delay that by watching a 30-minute embedded VSL directly on the platform. There's just like a bit more of a ticking time bomb where the person has the cursor on the skip button.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's
But Facebook, they can just keep scrolling.
They can, but they're aimlessly scrolling.
Right.
Where with YouTube, there's intent behind the way that they're looking.
Although with YouTube Shorts now, YouTube is starting to merge. Because I did a lot of the counter argument, I can see both sides. The counter argument is that YouTube, people are there already ready to watch longer stuff. And it's funny, I've had people watch my long ads that were like, Ty, I forgot what I was typing in. I was typing in like how to make money. And my video came up and they thought it was the organic result. Never underestimate the lack of tech sophistication on Earth. So people were like, oh, I didn't even know it was an ad, and I watched for an hour. So now
the split for you in terms of so you spend most of your money on YouTube ads right now?
Now it alternates based on compliance. Like right now, YouTube is way stricter. They have way more II, than Facebook. I remember when Facebook was the strict one.
Yeah.
2016, 2017, Facebook, you couldn't get anything approved. Now I think it flip-flops with platforms, Yeah,
you good.
What are you finding? You finding easier compliance on Facebook or YouTube?
YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it really depends on what they're kind of categorizing your content in and what niche. There's obviously a bunch of people that were using AI and doing all this face cloning of Elon Musk and stuff and running all these black hat crypto offers that just kind of fucked it for everybody.
Yeah.
Which they always do. Like you get these black hat guys that just move in. But yeah, I feel like Facebook was super tight. It has definitely loosened up substantially now. You can make a lot more claims. They didn't allow before and afters. You can do that now. They're loosening up a little bit.
So your main business model now, you have different parts of your business. You have an agency, right?
Yeah.
For like higher end, and then you have like lower ticket training, and then you have a done kind of hybrid.
Yes, correct.
So what do you spend more of your time on, which of those?
Me, so I've got, a general manager who runs the day-to-day of my business. The thing that I'm really focused on is like not what's going on in my businesses like this quarter, but like what are we going to be doing this quarter, next year, or the year
strategy,
5 year, mainly on strategy and on innovation. And then I use my own individual business as the guinea pig on paid ads and all of these different things, find out what works, and then teach those to my team to then roll them across all of our clients.
How many hooks I have a system that I trademarked. It's called my 9-lever system. So my CMO, different chief marketing officers I have worked for them, they kind of follow this blueprint. And, number one lever to making more money online is pick products that the market is dying for. So how do you find those? Do you deploy ads with a lot of different hooks and see what sticks? What's been the best hook you've ever done? I'm known for different hooks. Here in My Garage is a pretty well-known hook in the space. But I had a crypto, Bitcoin, 2 pizza one. That one actually got more views than Here in My Garage. But that's when YouTube was taking down crypto stuff. So I've got my SMMA one. What's been like your most powerful hooks?
One was around like a campaign that we did where it was like stop praying to the internet gods, and there was like Elon Musk and Zuckerberg like dressed up as religious figures in the background, and it was like I was holding a funeral for money that had just been murdered, and there was a big coffin of money.
Okay.
That did really well, and then we had one called the boy hook, where it was like most agencies are like boys.
Okay.
And we went into like they'll promise you like a truckload of impressions, but no sales, and they'll never talk about ROI and all of these kind of things. So that did well. But typically when we shoot an ad, we'll shoot 10 different hooks for the one long form. And then that's where most people kind of stop. They'll be like, okay, cool. We ran 10 hooks. These 3 are the winners. And that's like that's kind of the end of the road. What I have found that works even better than that is to double down on the winning hooks. So re-edit those hooks.
Yes.
And because you get all the retention data now and you can see like when people are hopping off, when the spikes are, you can then go and go, okay, well, why are people clicking off after that part of the hook? Can I re-edit that? How can I tune it up and tighten it up a little bit? But you can get so much more.
But do you just re-edit the original hook or do you re-record it?
No, you re-edit it.
But you re-edit it, maybe put some graphics in it, make it shorter, longer.
Correct.
Kind of
move certain parts out. Like, you know, because typically when you even have the finished hook, there was so much more other additional content that got cut to get it to that place.
Yes.
Or there was a different angle or there was something else in there. So that's one thing that we do. And then those hooks, depending on how much ad spend you're going to put behind them and how big those audiences are, as you're well aware of, fatigue.
Yeah.
Once they fatigue, there's so much more juice in the back half of the actual ad.
Yeah, because nobody ever got there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was where, you know, the hook didn't appeal to them. There wasn't the right identity triggers. There wasn't the right pattern matching on there. So then we'll reshoot multiple new hooks on the same body copy and get more juice from that same orange. Because if you're in an evergreen market, like say, for instance, like scaling offers or getting people customers, a lot of the desires of that market is not going to change in a year, 2 years, 3 years. The shiny, sexy thing on the front end is it's a messenger bot, it's AI, it's outbound via sales webinars, whatever it's going to be. That thing, the hot flavor of the month thing will change.
Yeah.
But the actual core pains and desire of that market and what it is that they want aren't going to change.
Exactly.
And so instead of just completely redoing an entire ad, you can get a lot more juice out of the orange by just cycling in new hooks.
Yeah, I use something called the 12-12-12 formula. So we basically record 12 ads, we run them for 12 days, and we do that for 12 cycles. So 144 days. And you can dial in a crazy amount of stuff. I mean, we're in the middle for one of my companies. I've got like 22 companies that I have my own agency. Most of my clients for my 9-lever agency are just my own businesses. We occasionally take outside clients, but it's not my favorite thing to do unless they're really big companies or really skilled. So we dropped in 12 creatives, 12 ads. They're about 3-minute ads, 12 different ones. We force Facebook to spend by putting them in separate ad sets, one ad per ad set. I don't do that forever, but I like that when I'm testing, what does the market want? So, for example, one of my best concepts that the market wants, lever one, I just recorded a video. I was in a tank top. I was like, I bought a lot of big companies. If you want me to value your company, you want a free valuation, DM me the word valuation. So that brought in, you'll appreciate this because you know the game. So I consider a qualified lead someone who has 100,000 or more liquid cash. I asked liquid cash on the form. I think it's a mistake. Most people are asking revenue and all that. I go for the real question. But that was bringing me qualified leads. A lot of them 1 to 10 million liquid cash for $17 a piece. I've been running campaigns since 2001. That's the highest quality for the lowest cost per lead. And so that's a winner from my 12-12-12. But I had to run a lot of losers. And people are afraid of that in marketing. You probably see that with your clients. You're like, the smartest guy would be like, look, spend $1 million finding me the angle that the market wants. Most entrepreneurs, they go, this is what I want to sell, and they force it on the market. So do you do that ever with customers where you're like, let's test concepts?
100%. That's the thing that drives me like probably the most crazy is that like when you sit down and you think about what it is that you're trying to achieve for a business that hasn't ever run cold traffic at wild scale and got it to convert. What you're trying to do for them is to create a golden goose that just lays eggs all day long, aka install an ATM machine in their house.
Yeah.
That they put $1 in and they get $3, $5, $10 back.
Yeah.
And it was very, very simple. Like you could spend $5,000 in a month and go find that ATM machine. Like everyone would be billionaires. That's not
people don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reality of it is what I say to people is you're going to pay in time or you're going to pay with money.
Yep.
What do you have more of?
Right.
And based on their answer to that question is going to depict, it's like we could spend $5,000 per month for 6 months. We could spend $100,000 a month for 6 months, or we could come out of the gate really hot and heavy to find that winning angle.
Yeah.
It's not going to be, we're just going to put it out and we're going to hit it. But when we are hit it. So that's the first thing that drives me crazy. And then the second thing that drives me crazy is that once people spend all the money to find that winner, they want to go find something else.
Right.
And it's like, no. Like you find the bullseye market hit through iteration.
Yeah.
And then you get wealthy through repetition. You need to get more inputs into that same system and you need to scale it. Because when I sit down with most people and I do a diagnosis on their business and I'm finding out what their bottlenecks are, it will always go something along the lines of, oh yeah, we're doing Facebook ads. And I'll be like, terrific. How's that going for you? And they'll be like, yeah, we're getting this many appointments. This is how many sales we make. Okay, cool. What are you selling at? Price points. After I hit them with rounds and rounds of questions to get down to the kernel of the matter, we'll figure out that they're at a 10-to-1 ROI.
Right.
And then I'll be like,
are you spending more?
Why have you spent more money?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I just haven't really thought about that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
that's why most people, but remember, if it wasn't for the stupidity of other people, you wouldn't be able to get rich. It's a good Charlie Munger thing. So when I see people doing illogical things, I'm like, I can either fight it or just be like, well, my opportunity. By the way, what's the most you're seeing right now for your clients that you can spend before there's major drop-offs in ROAS? Like what are some campaigns you have right now? Let's say Facebook.
Around $100,000 a day.
Yeah. How many different campaigns is that usually?
It depends on the size of the market. America's audiences are much more forgiving than Australia or the UK or other markets. And the way that the algorithm works right now, how you can just set it to no targeting, pick the geography and just ride that wild bull on crack. It's a different game to, if you're in Australia, there's no way that you can get away with spending that.
No, you're not going to spend $100,000.
Yeah. So
is that Facebook and YouTube or just one platform?
Just Facebook.
Just Facebook.
Yeah. And
what
for
type,
that, you'll
what
be
type
running
industry is that usually?
Hundreds of ads you'll be running, right? Could be property investment, home building, business building.
What's your favorite client? They come to you, you're like, I know how to make money. Is it?
The best type of business for me is somebody that has a sales team.
Yeah.
They're selling something at above $20,000.
Yeah.
They're in the car, they're moving, and they just want to go a lot faster.
Yeah.
And the reason that I say...
But what industry? What industries would be your favorite? Like if somebody came to you and said, I want to sell underwater basket weaving, I'd be like, that's tough to sell. But what's an industry you like? Real estate, info courses,
wealth,
people,
relationship, biz op. It's the three big.
But have you been able to scale dating to 100K?
No.
Yeah. Wealth is easier to scale. There's more demand from the market. So when somebody is working with you and they're at 100K of scale, okay, ad spend per day, what's a ROAS you would target? What can you realistically? And I like to do the short-term ROAS, so sub 7-day ROAS or 30-day ROAS. 2, 3?
Between 2 and 3.
Yeah. If you can, if you can spend $100,000 a day and what's the days to that ROAS?
30 days.
30 days. Yeah. If you can have sub 30-day ROAS at 100K a day spend, I've spent more than that. But you got to spend more than 100K a day. I think the most I've spent in a day, let's say you spend $200,000 to $600,000 a day. You usually have to have a physical product for that. And you have to own big brands that people know. If you're in kind of a selling courses or lead gen, usually you get most people can't scale past 2,000.
Yeah.
Facebook's very good and tricky at giving people good ROAS at the beginning.
False positives.
They love it.
Gives you that little pocket of the hyperactive buyers in the traffic. And you're like, oh, this is good.
They literally wrote in their algorithm, I'm sure of it. It's like, what's our best pixel traffic? We know these people buy stuff. Every time a new customer comes on, give them 1 or 2 sales at $6 CPA just to get them all excited.
Give them a little shot of dopamine.
Exactly. That's what TikTok did to grow. They're like, hey, everybody, we'll just add 3 zeros to whatever your real view count is. People who get 3 views on Instagram would go over to TikTok, post the same video. It's like 600 million people saw this video. I'm like, if you trust the TikTok view numbers. But so let me ask you a little about the personal life. So I like this rapid fire kind of question to get to know somebody. Do you have kids?
I do.
Okay. if you're starting all over, your time machine back to your 12-year-old self, you've made a lot of money as an entrepreneur. What age do you tell yourself that you should have your first kid? Knowing what you know now. How old were you when you had your first kid?
I was 30.
Okay.
I'd say 26.
So a little bit earlier. Okay. That's interesting. What's the reason?
I love children.
Okay.
And I want to have lots of children.
Okay. How many is lots?
Like either I started at 26, I'd shoot for 8.
Okay. I'm positive. There is a millionaire guy in Eastern Europe who him and his wife had 21 children this year. They flushed her eggs, IVF, surrogates, and she plans to have 100. Apparently he's in jail for something else, so I guess it's delayed for a year, but if you flush eggs,
there's always someone wants more. Yeah, 100 is that's a lot. I don't think I'm that much. But
so
yeah,
8. You want 8.
Yeah, I like having lots of children. I think that like in the latter years of life and having lots of grandkids around and being around family, it's like, I feel that typically the older that you get, depending on who you are, the closer and the tighter knit your social circle gets.
Right.
And having family and having kids around, it's just like having your own squad.
Yes.
And it's, so I definitely think that, I certainly wanted to make sure that I was in a certain financial place before I had kids. And I think that people come up with these arbitrary numbers or certain places. And what I tell people now is you're never going to be ready for kids. There's never going to be a time that you wake up and be like, I feel prepared to have a child.
That's interesting. So you would tell yourself to have kids a little younger. Are you married?
I am.
What age would you tell yourself to get married? If ever, you could say, now you don't have to get married to have kids.
25, 26.
Gotcha. So that's cutting a little tight. 26, then you have the kid the same day. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, it depends on how long you've been dating for. I dated my wife for quite some time before I got married.
But you're more of a fan because you're a successful entrepreneur. A lot of entrepreneurs now are teaching secure the bag first before you think about love, kids. You're kind of opposite school.
No, I think that I'm definitely not the opposite school, but you're saying now, I could go back with everything that I've achieved now.
But then when are you making money?
And go tell my 12-year-old self. Yeah. Like, I'm going to tell him, like, immediately when you turn 18, like, university, all this other stuff.
Go make money.
Go make money and go and dial in. And if you dialed and locked in from like the ages of 18 to 28, a decade, you'd have enough money to have a child.
How long did it take you to make first million from the day you started?
2 years.
2 years. So in that scenario, if you say you need to have $1 million, you could start at 24.
You could.
Yeah. So plenty of time. Now, in terms of bigger picture, what do you think happens when you die?
I don't believe in reincarnation. I can't sit here and typically say that, like, no one can say that they have a high level of certainty of what happens. I truly believe that nothing happens.
So you're just gone. They call that
nothing more than a whisper in the wind.
A materialist. Okay. Going back to Australia, what's the number one thing that Australia does better than America? What's the number one thing
I'd say
Australia
in general,
does better than America?
The quality of life. Yeah. I think that there's two different extremes. I don't know if it's still the case in America. It's probably changed quite a lot. I think that, like, Americans were really known for having, like, incredibly strong work ethic.
Yes.
And I think that, like, if you traveled the world and you went to Europe and you went to Australia and you went to a lot of places, like, one of the things that was like the social currency of America was, like, they had very, very strong work ethic. I think that's definitely changed. I think with the later generations that work ethic is definitely degrading. And
you think Australia is better?
No, I think that the thing that they do that, by and large has been, an advantage to them is just, like, having a very high quality of life.
Right.
Yeah.
Friends, family, go on vacations.
Correct.
What's America do better, though?
That can be to their detriment. There's always extremes.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that for the people that are entrepreneurial and are hungry and switched on, because there are a lot of people that don't typically have that hustle muscle or the really strong work ethic, is that it allows you to counterbalance a lot of that like always on entrepreneurial with the more balanced stuff.
Yeah.
Things that Americans do better than Australians.
Right. It sounds like it's just the opposite. It's like that hard work ethic. Or let me take that back. You said that's gone. So what's your answer then?
So I think that the thing that the Americans do a lot better than the Australians is celebrate success. We have a very severe case of tall poppy syndrome in Australia. And it's like, if you go out and speak in an event in America, they're cheering you on. If they see that you're doing successful, it's like they really get behind their people and rally them. And in Australia, it's more like a zero-sum game, it feels like. If you're successful, I'm not. And that's one of the things that I absolutely love about Americans, is just like they really, really do appreciate success. It's like a fisherman sees another fisherman from afar.
I like that. So right now, let's just say magically you made $10 million cash. Somebody's going to wire it. It's after tax. You may have way more money than this, but let's just use this. I like to use the same scenario for multiple guests. Someone wires you. Actually, my neighbor won the lottery. He won over $1 billion cash after tax. You win a 10 million lottery after tax. You're not allowed to work anymore. Do you take the money?
No.
Okay. You win 100 million. You're not allowed to work anymore. Do you take the money?
No.
$1 billion. That slowed you down. One caveat: you cannot work at all. You got to live off that bill. Yes or no?
And I can't have any other philanthropy.
You can have nonprofit. You can work toward nonprofit, but no more money can ever come into your personal bank account. You can live off.
Yep.
So $1 billion is your number. Yep. So you're ambitious. 100 mil ain't enough. Okay. But we got to do this again. I want to do a follow-up with this, because so for those you watching that want to get the notes on the things we talked about on today's podcast, want to hear about building 100K a day funnels, tylopez.com/Sabri podcast, SABRI podcast. We'll have the show notes. We'll have links. And, this question I asked you, I really wonder if you actually had the 100 million in a sack. And you're like, would you take? Because a lot of people are like, no, I want $1 billion.
I tell you right now, there's no way I take it.
Zero. Okay. Yeah. That's fine.
What about you?
So this is, in this scenario, this is like me and you have nothing now and we're going to be handed 100. I think 100 million is a lot of money. And I think 10 million, you could argue, isn't enough for life because of inflation. So I don't know. It's a tough question. I would be on the fence.
But you see, the way that I look at it, it's not like, oh, like 100 million, that's not enough to live the rest of your life. Right. But I know it's like, if you, like, entrepreneurship is the greatest sport ever. Right. Right. And it never stops. And it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And there's some dude out there that's looking to take your lunch money and come and kick your ass. And if you just take all the bullets out of the gun and you're just running around, it removes the stakes, right? Like revenue and money is the scoreboard. Like that's
you like the game.
I'm not doing it for the money.
Yeah.
Like the money is the byproduct of it, but it's the fun, it's the building, it's having chips, it's using that. Like money is just video game tokens.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why for me, it's not like
competitive.
Whether it's the 100 million or the billion. It's
you don't want to be taken out of the
I don't want to be coming out of the game.
Well, thanks for being on the show. This was good, my man.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Thank you.